Nice guy, kind man, big difference. In today's video, I'm giving you the 5 key differences between a nice guy and a kind man. And the reason I'm talking about this today is because I used to be a very, very, very nice man. I used to be too nice. And this actually had a devastating impact on my friendships, on my relationships with women, on my mental well-being, and my general quality of life. But that was before I went through my own journey of overcoming this, conquering this. But the thing is, the reason I'm making this video is because so many people, when I talk on this channel about men not being nice anymore, there's 2 people that respond to me. One are women who struggle to realize they think I'm talking like teaching men to be assholes, and men who are afraid to be assholes. Well, here are the 5 key differences, and by the end of this video you're going to realize that you don't want to be a nice guy, you want to be a kind man instead. So the first key difference is about conflict. I'll tell you what a nice guy does and what a kind man does. He avoids conflict to keep everyone happy. That's what a nice guy does. Okay, that's the key difference. What does a kind man do? A kind man, he faces conflict directly. He wants to resolve issues honestly because he realizes that the kindest thing you can do in that situation is to reach a win-win solution for everybody. By avoiding conflict, a nice guy actually ends up bringing about a lot more suffering and struggle for the people around him and himself than facing things directly. So the second key difference is about his needs and helping people. So a nice guy, he helps other people, but there's a difference here. He secretly wants something in return for it. This is what, in the book No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover, he calls a covert contract. A nice guy avoids embracing and expressing his needs directly with the people around him, so he tries to curry favor with people and trying to get his needs met in very indirect ways. He does favors for people, but there's always something underneath it. There's something he's trying to get from it. People might unconsciously sense this around him. They might keep their distance. So that's what a nice guy does. But when it comes to helping other people, what does a kind man do? A kind man, he helps other people, but he doesn't expect anything in return. Okay? It's the difference between being a caretaker, which is what the nice guy does, and a caregiver, which is what a powerful, strong, kind man does. He's already filling his own glass. He knows how to meet his own needs in his life, so he doesn't need to take everything from other people. The third thing is about how a nice guy versus a kind man embrace their own feelings. A nice guy hides his true feelings to avoid upsetting people. This is because he is afraid of his feelings. A nice guy sees that his feelings might be a problem. He's afraid of being authentic with the people in his life, and he has a very deep fear of conflict, which leads him to be a chameleon, running away from his true self instead of embracing it. What does a kind man do? A kind man, he shares his true, authentic feelings. He shares his authentic personality, even if it might upset somebody. You see, a kind man can handle it. A kind man doesn't run away from this stuff. He embraces conflict. He realizes that he isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, so he doesn't try to be. The fourth thing is about approval. A nice guy needs approval and validation from other people in order to feel good about himself. But the thing is, a kind man, he values his own self-worth and he has a strong core identity. He has a self-validating personality that's independent of other people's approval. The fifth key difference between a nice guy and a kind man is about boundaries. A nice guy often feels used by people. A nice guy often feels like he gives but doesn't get anything in return. But the thing is, he never speaks up about it and he never sets boundaries because he's afraid of conflict. But here's the thing about a kind man instead. What a kind man does is when he feels used, when he feels like people are taking advantage of him, when people aren't treating him with respect, he speaks up when he feels used, and a kind man enforces boundaries because a kind man understands that kindness, true kindness, serving other people doesn't mean trying to not rock the boat and keep the peace at all costs. Kindness often means setting boundaries, because a kind man realizes that kindness is not kindness at all unless it's kind to yourself as well. One of the key things you should realize, mate, is that to be a kind man is strength. A weak man cannot be kind. A weak man can be nice, because to be nice is actually quite easy. You never have to speak your truth. You never have to risk conflict. You never have to be vulnerable or authentic. You never have to say something that might upset somebody. You never have to risk anything. To be kind is actually difficult. To be kind requires courage. Kindness requires strength, and that's the takeaway I want you to get from this video. As always, mate, I appreciate the hell out of you. Bonus points if you can guess what city I am in purely from this shot alone. And I'll see you in the next video, mate. Subscribe to this channel if you want to become a more kind, confident, assertive, and unapologetic man. Stay courageous.